Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy, and I'm here to do A Course in Miracles Lesson 335. A Course in Miracles Lesson 335, which is, I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. Do you know forgiveness is a choice? Forgiveness is a choice. You never see your brother as your brother is. You never see a person as a person is. For what a person really is far beyond perception. What a person really is far beyond perception. What you see in a person is merely what you wish to see. What you see in another is what you wish to see. Because what you see in another stands for what you want to be the truth. What you see in another stands for what you want to be the truth. What you want to be the truth, it is to this alone that you respond. However much you seem to be impelled by outside happenings, you are actually just responding to what you want to see, what you want to believe. You choose to see what you would look upon. You choose to see what you would look upon. And what you would look upon, this you see. And only this you see. I choose to see what I would look upon, and this I see, and only this. Your brother's sinlessness, your brother's innocence, shows you that you would look upon your own innocence. Your brother's innocence shows that you would look upon your innocence. To focus on your brother's innocence shows that you would look upon your own innocence, and you will see your own innocence. Having chosen to see your brother in the holy light of innocence, you will see your innocence. Having chosen to see someone else in innocence, you will see your innocence. What could restore God's memory to you? What could restore God's memory to you except to see your brother's innocence, sinlessness? What could restore your memory to me, God, except to see my brother's sinlessness? Don't you know that another person's innocence, their holiness, reminds you that they were created one with you, and like yourself, they were created one with you and like yourself? In your brother, in another, you find yourself. In your brother, you find yourself. And in another, you find the memory of God as well. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see another's sinlessness. I choose to see another's innocence. I choose to see another's innocence. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. I choose to see my brother's sinlessness. You choose to see, you choose to see, you choose to see your brother's innocence. What would it take for your brother's innocence to show up in your perception in ways beyond your wildest imagination through the Holy Spirit? This is Earl Raj Purdy. Check out videos and audios of my classes at www.earlpurdy.com. And let peace extend from my mind to yours. Yes. Hello, my companions. This is Earl Raj Purdy, and we're going to do the theme 12 in the workbook, which is called What is the Ego? What is the ego means what is fear? What is separation? What is separation thought? What is the ego? The ego is idolatry, the sign of limited and a separated self. The ego is the part of you that thinks it's born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. The ego is the so-called will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. Do you know the ego is the so-called proof that strength is weak and love is fearful, that life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true? Do you know the ego is insane? The part of the mind that thinks it's separate, the part of the mind that thinks it's separate from God is insane. In fear, the ego stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all, in separation from the infinite. Do you know that in the ego's insanity, the ego thinks it has become a victor over God himself? And in the ego's terrible autonomy, the ego sees the will of God. The ego sees the will of God has been destroyed. To the fearful man, the will of God that you be perfectly happy has been destroyed. Do you know that the ego dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams, its enemies who seek to murder the ego before the ego can ensure the ego's safety by attacking them? Do you know the Son of God is egoless? Do you know that you are egoless? Do you know that your real self doesn't have any fear or sense of separation? What can the child of God know of madness? What can the child of God know of the death of God when the child of God abides in God? What can the child of God who knows he or she is a child of God? What can the child of God know of sorrow? What can the child of God know of suffering? When the child of God lives in eternal joy, how could the child of God know suffering? What can the child of God know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and attack, when all there is surrounding the child of God is everlasting peace? When all there is surrounding the child of God is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free and undisturbed, in deepest silence and tranquility. Do you know to know reality, to know the truth, to know love is not to see the ego and not to see the ego's thoughts, is to know reality in love. To know reality is not to see the ego and the ego's thoughts, the ego's works, the ego's acts, the ego's laws, and the ego's beliefs. To know reality is not to know the ego's fearful dreams, the ego's hopes, the ego's plans for salvation, and the cost belief in the ego entails. Do you know that in suffering, the price for faith in the ego is so immense that crucifixion of you, the child of God, is offered daily at the ego's darkened, ignorant shrine? And blood must flow before the altar where the ego's sickly followers prepare to die. And yet, with one lily of forgiveness, with one lily of correct perception, change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions of the shrine of life itself, and peace will be restored forever to the holy minds that which God created as his son. Peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as his son, his dwelling place, his joy, God's love, and completely God's, completely one with God. So What is the ego? What is a fearful thought? What is the ego?